What's up, everybody? It's me, Melonie Mac here, and I just got back from the theater watching Birds of Prey, and here's my review. Now, I made a lot of posts about it. I was kind of very hyped for this movie before it came out. Admittedly, I'm a DC fangirl. I usually like DC movies better than Marvel movies. I still do like Marvel movies a lot, but I love DC movies. I like Suicide Squad. I left a glowing review for that, so if you didn't like Suicide Squad, then we might have different taste in movies. Not that I thought Suicide Squad was some masterpiece or anything like that, but I did really like it. And that was one reason why I was really excited for this movie too, because my favorite thing about Suicide Squad was how Margot Robbie portrayed Harley Quinn. She just blew the performance out of the water. And I felt like, okay, here's her time to shine in her own movie. So let's see it. You know what I mean? And so I was really excited for it. I bought a lot of stuff. I bought t-shirts and pop figures and all kinds of stuff, pins, and I was so excited, and I was like, oh man, if this movie doesn't turn out to be what I want it to be, then I got all this Birds of Prey merch and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. But thankfully I loved it, so I'll say that much. So let me just kind of hop into my review here. And first, I kind of want to address some concerns that some people were having about it and that I saw on Twitter. And I know, for example, with a movie like Charlie's Angels, which is, a girl power movie. And with that, I originally was going to watch it, and I didn't, because after the director kind of blamed its failures on men in saying that men weren't supporting it, and so they were misogynistic because they wouldn't watch the movie. And even Captain Marvel got some of that, towards like, oh, you don't like Captain Marvel, you must be a misogynist, and all this stuff, which I think is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. If you don't like a movie, it does not inherently make you a misogynist. It's just stupid to me, that whole idea is. And that's why I didn't watch Charlie's Angels, is because after that was said and all that, I thought, you know what, if they gotta blame men and say that this movie isn't doing well because men who didn't watch it are misogynists, then it's probably not a good movie. And so I didn't watch it. Maybe it is a good movie and I didn't give it a chance, but that just really kind of made me tune out. Okay, so I wanted to add something else here that I thought of after filming, but somebody tweeted me something and they were complaining because of an interview from Ewan McGregor, who plays Black Mask in this movie, Birds of Prey, and basically comparing it to the whole Charlie's Angels thing. And to me, I feel like they're completely different. And I think with Charlie's Angels, it was ridiculous to blame men and saying that men won't watch female-led movies, because that's absolutely absurd, first of all. But with what Ewan McGregor said is basically he was saying that, he's proud to be a part of this movie and how it tackled some misogyny issues that women face in a subtle way. And there definitely were a couple instances where you saw that addressed in very subtle ways. And I'm sorry, but if you're offended by that, then to me, that's just ridiculous, because I wouldn't even compare this to the Charlie's Angels thing. And let's be real, misogyny is still a real thing, and there's nothing wrong with it being addressed, in this case, in a subtle way that isn't man-hating. I don't see a problem with that. And that's not something that I think people should be offended by personally. I do, however, think that when movies or people in general go to the extreme and they hate on men and they resort to man-hating because of trying to fight for equality, I think that's the wrong way to do it. So by no means do I think that every man or most men are misogynists, but there are some misogynists out there, and there are some experiences that I myself have gone through and that most women have gone through, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with addressing that, and I don't think that it did it in a way that was obnoxious. That being said, I didn't get any man-hating vibes from this movie. It depends on what... Somebody might have a different perspective of it, because at the end of the day, it is a woman power movie. So if you just don't like women power movies, and because it does pander a little bit, I do have to say, I mean, more than a little bit, it's definitely, it definitely feeds off woman power. So if that's not your thing, then that's not your thing. But for me, I liked it. I thought it did a good job. I didn't feel any man-hating vibes. At the end of the day, you're still seeing a bunch of women kick butt and kick a bunch of man butt. That's what it is when you really think about it, when you really unpack it. But at the same time, it didn't feel like a man-hating thing for me. So I'm going to move on for that and talk about some things that I really liked about this movie. Now, I'm not going to go in with a play-by-play and talk about every little thing that happened and then my opinion on it, because this is a spoiler-free review. And so I just kind of want to, be able to touch lightly on why I love this movie so much, because I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like, I was wanting to cheer in the theater so many times, and I was like, okay, control yourself. There's people around here. I want to be nice, but I had so much fun with this movie. I haven't had this much fun watching a movie in so long. It was just a very, very fun time. And the thing that I liked about it, obviously I'm all about like movies or video games, especially in the action genre, that have female leads. And so I like woman power. I love woman power if it's portrayed like in a way that in a certain way that particularly appeals to me. And that's exactly what this movie did. So that's one reason why I like it so much. But so for example, as you can see back here, I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider, especially classic Tomb Raider, because Lara Croft, the way that she was originally created to be, she did what she was going to do. She was unapologetic about it. She lived the way she wanted to live. She was disowned for it by her own parents, and she still did it anyway. So she was in for the thrill, the adrenaline rush, being, that Tomb Raider, hunting for artifacts and taking out anybody who gets in her way, that type of thing. She wasn't a person that you looked up to as like, oh, here's a morally good person that you should be just like her. She was a character that you got to enjoy and have fun and vicariously live through, because she was so rambunctious and wild, and she did whatever she wanted to do. Sometimes she did good things, sometimes she did not so good things, but that's just who she was, and she was gonna be that because that's who she was, and she was unapologetic about that, and I love that. And so I don't like to see when a character like that is transformed into somebody who is motivated by doing the right thing and helping people, and that's their motivation, and not letting people down, and that's what they did with the reboot. And so I don't want to spend this whole video talking about Tomb Raider, so my apologies. If you're a reboot fan, I'm sorry. I am not trying to offend you. I am not trying to hurt your feelings, because I know that you have a connection with the games, but this is my opinion, and this is how I feel they transformed a character. And so for that reason, I don't like to see it. Is Reboot Lara not a good character? She is a good character, but she's not Lara Croft in the way that she was created to be. And that's my problem. And that's what I'm expressing. So, throwing that out there, saying that, that's my feel on it. And so, when you take a character like Harley Quinn, for example, she is portrayed in a way, in a lot of ways that I liked about classic Lara Croft, except obviously they're completely different characters with different personalities, different backstories. Harley Quinn's obviously a lot more psychotic than Lara Croft ever was, so you do have those differences there. But at the end of the day, Harley Quinn was a character who is a character, and who they did portray in this movie in a way to where she was going to do what she wants to do. She's going to do what she wants, when she wants, how she wants it. She isn't concerned about being polite, about, caring about everybody's feelings around her. She flat out murders people. She breaks bones. She's rambunctious, she's crazy, she's not this super ladylike proper woman. Like, she's gonna do what she wants to do, whether it's good or bad. She's gonna do it. And you do see sides of her, you do see some vulnerability in her from time to time, and you also see her, where it clicks in her head sometimes that, like, oh wait, maybe this was wrong, maybe I should make this specific situation right. So you do see that there is some morality in her, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of immorality in her, and the movie portrays that in such an unapologetic way. It's extremely violent, for example. So you're gonna see this woman and other women in the movie kick butt and in an absolutely gruesome way in a lot of ways, and you're gonna see a lot of blood, a lot of violence, a lot of language, and just completely unapologetic about that. And then even at the end of the movie, which I'm not going to talk about what happens, but even at the end of the movie, it's something that's so like in passing in the movie, so it's not like a huge focus on it, but it just happens in passing to where you're just like, that happened? That literally just happened, and they just brush it off like it's nothing. And it's just like, yep, but there's no like, okay, everybody has to be perfect and good, and we always said that we have to portray these characters in a moral light and all this stuff. You don't see that, and I love that. And so to see that really made me happy. So when I think about a movie, a lot of female characters are portrayed in a way to where they have to be especially these days in video games, to where they have to be polite and they have to be nice and they have to have good motivations. And at the end of the day, they just got to do what they think is right. And I feel like almost every female character, lead character, is like that these days in movies or video games. And it's at some point it just kind of gets old, or it kind of gets, I don't know. I just like to see women be able to kick butt, and I like to see women be in a super violent movie or video game, just like male characters are a lot. But at the same time, I like to see different stories. I like to see women do things for fun. I like to see these women go on rampages and be bad, honestly, in a lot of ways, but they're enjoying it. I love to see that. And then I like to see, different characters had different motivations. But I feel like they balance the characters really well as a whole. And then obviously my 3 favorite characters are Harley Quinn, Black Canary, and the Huntress. And I feel like all 3 of them were done really well in their own way. So while you have Harley, who is that rambunctious, selfish, crazy, psychotic character, you have Black Canary, for example, who, kind of complimented her in a way to where she was more of the moral character. She was no goody two-shoes by any means, but she did, act based off of her conscience and what she felt was right in this situation. And I feel like they did that well. She wasn't ever perfect, but she still balanced Harley in a way to where she was the more practical one, and she was the one who, she had that conscience. And I think she was done super well. I think she was acted super well. She's gorgeous, and she was very awesome in the movie. And then if you take another character like the Huntress, who her motivations were purely based on vengeance, and she's a lot more serious, for example. But I kind of liked how they portrayed that, because while she is a serious character in a not so serious movie, they were able to poke fun at that, and it was honestly hilarious. And they took a character who had trauma in her past, but they didn't exploit her in that way. They were able to still show that and to show her motivations, but in a more fun way. You don't even see that a lot. And off the top of my head, I think of Kill Bill, but that's pretty old. So when you think about any recent movies, what recent popular Hollywood movie with a female lead had a woman murdering people for vengeance? It's not common. It's really not. And so it's just cool to see that. You feel like these women are able to do these things that you could see a guy do in a movie. And it's just cool to see it. It's cool to see that they don't have to be held back, and that they're unapologetically like being who they're gonna be. And one thing that really made me happy too with Harley Quinn is to be able to see that she is this absolute, like, honestly killing machine, and this just like, but at the same time she's also very feminine and very like bubbly and like, oh, haha. And ways that we've seen her portrayed, like in the cartoons or in comic books, stuff like that. Like, they didn't hold back. And I have to say, when I saw the trailers originally, I don't know, I thought we were going to get a softer version of her. And obviously the trailers aren't going to show all that violence and all the craziness that we actually see in the movie. So I did not expect it to be as dark and violent as it was. And so it was cool to see that. It was cool to see that she was portrayed this way. She wasn't held back as a character, and she wasn't softened up. And you got to see her kick butt, but at the same time, you still got to see her be hot too. She wasn't all covered up and made female friendly. That's one thing that just gets on my nerves so much, is whenever a female character is changed to be female friendly, and by female friendly they mean just covering her up in more clothes and call it a day and take away a lot of her femininity, and that's suddenly female friendly. I'm not for that. And one thing I really like about this movie is that you get to see Harley Quinn, Black Canary, the Huntress even kick butt, but they're all in these tight clothes, looking cute while they're doing it. Not that every character has to be that way. I guess when you think of Huntress, she is a lot less girly than the other two, like Black Canary and Harley Quinn. And that's cool, because I do like to see, differences there, and I don't want to see them all be identical. But I did really like to see a character like Harley Quinn, who, you know, portrayed by Margot Robbie, who is the absolute best Harley Quinn ever. I don't feel like anybody could play this character like she can, down to the voice, to her mannerisms, to like her personality. Everything is just so perfect for Harley Quinn. And so I love to see that. I love to see where she's able to break someone's legs 1 minute, and then the next minute she can be painting her fingernails and be like, oh yeah, okay. Like, and be really girly and wear a crop top and these booty shorts and all this stuff. It's cute. Like, I'm all for it. It's like totally drew me in. And so I think my problem with a lot of girl power movies or video games these days is that they put previously feminine characters in more masculine outfits, or make them more covered up and make them, I guess, more safe and all that stuff. And I'm like, not for that. I don't see why why she can't be hot and kick butt, and I don't see why that doesn't work. And again, I'm not saying that every female character should be that way. They don't all have to be hot. They don't all have to have tight-fitting clothes and things like that. But I'm just saying, I don't like the idea that they can't be that way either, because to me, I don't like the message that sends. And that's one reason why we don't see characters like Blood Rain anymore either, and I don't feel like people don't really think that she works in today's society and the way things are now. But I don't know, after watching Birds of Prey, I'm like, hey, you know what? If this can work, and it does super well, why can't we see more characters in games like that too? So that's it for this video. I don't really feel like it's in like a super review format, but it's just like what I really liked about it on surface level without giving away any spoilers. And it's just sharing that I absolutely loved this movie. So kind of to TLDR, if you're kind of on the fence and you're wondering if you're gonna like it or not, if you like girl power movies, and if you like super fun movies, and if you like something that you can enjoy that doesn't take itself too seriously, then yes, you're gonna love this. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's a girl power movie. It's fun. You get to watch hot babes kicking butt, and it's just a good time. And think of it similar to how like a Fast and Furious movie isn't going to take itself super serious. You see a bunch of unrealistic stuff happening and a bunch of unrealistic fights and all that kind of stuff. So even though it's a total different tone than that, kind of think about like maybe Suicide Squad with a little bit of Scott Pilgrim, that kind of feel to it is the vibes that I got. Then yeah, I mean, it's just a good time, and it's just really fun, and I want to watch it again. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't just like it, I absolutely loved it, and it was one of the most fun I've had watching a movie in a very, very long time. So definitely that. But if you're expecting something more serious, or if you're expecting something more I don't know, if you're just not into like cheesiness and all that kind of stuff, then, or if you just don't like girl power stuff and you just don't connect with it, and maybe if you're offended by like cursing, or if you're offended by violence, then it's not going to be your thing. But overall, if you're just looking for a fun time, and yeah, then this is the movie. I loved it. So there you have it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to like, comment, and subscribe, you can, but it's not necessary. Only if you want to. Thank you again for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.